in less than 30 minutes. 6 men with nothing more than inside connections and ski masks pulled off the largest cash robbery in U.S. history, but money has a way of making people reckless. And soon enough, these friends would turn on each other, talk, run, and even kill to cover their tracks. This is the true story of the Dunbar Armored Heist and the blood trail it left behind. It was the perfect plan. No alarms, no broken doors, no witnesses, just 6 men, 1 inside connection, and nearly $19 million. Gone in 30 minutes. But money makes people reckless. And soon enough, that money began unraveling everyone's lives. Our story starts with Alan Pace III. It may sound familiar, like an infamous character from the Godfather movies. But in real life, Pace was the son of a respected California businessman. And instead of becoming a made man, he became a safety inspector for Dunbar Armored in Los Angeles. His job was simple. Check the security cameras and vault access to make sure everything was safe. But what he really did was memorize everything. He mapped the routes, timed the guard shifts, and planned the perfect heist. Dunbar Armored was a cash management company distributing currency, coins, and bank supplies to financial institutions throughout Southern California. Their facilities were heavily guarded with multiple entry points, surveillance cameras, and time-delayed exit doors. Every employee carried a key card, granting access only during their scheduled shifts. There were dozens of armored trucks and vaults storing millions of dollars overnight, and it was the perfect target for a determined crew. On the night of September 12, 1997, Pace put his plan into action. 5 friends were waiting outside the facility when Pace arrived at 11:45 p.m. He let them inside with his access badge. Then together, they suited up in black clothing, gloves, and ski masks. They avoided the cameras and waited for the coast to clear. Then they ambushed the guards, overpowered them, and tied them up with duct tape. They moved quickly and quietly, staying out of the camera range. Before any alarm could be sounded, they loaded up. They grabbed bags of small, untraceable bills, mostly pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters totaling around $18.9 million. According to Pace, they chose low-denomination bills because they were easier to transport and launder. Then they dumped the bags into a rented U-Haul truck and drove away. By 12:30 a.m., they were gone. No alarms, no police, no witnesses. Not a single moment of the robbery caught on camera. But while they'd managed to pull off the impossible, they'd also set themselves up for a lifetime on the run. With millions of dollars in hand, they split the loot and disappeared into the night. Pace alone pocketed for $1 million. He bought luxury cars, clothes, jewelry, expensive furniture, and several properties in Southern California and Las Vegas. He partied with celebrity porn star Tory Black and made large cash deposits into bank accounts in his wife's name. But as the years passed and no one came forward with any information about the robbery, he grew more relaxed. He even tried to deposit a few $1,000s in marked bills, only to have them flagged by the bank. Realizing how close he'd come to getting caught, Pace decided to play it safer. He spread out over a larger area, mixing with different crowds and investing in legitimate businesses like car washes and restaurants. He surrounded himself with loyal friends and associates, always keeping a bodyguard close by. But despite his efforts, rumors swirled about the missing millions. People saw dollar signs and began talking. Someone even mentioned Pace's name in a rap song. Soon, investigators were knocking on his door. By 1999, it had been 2 years since the Dunbar heist, and the mystery remained unsolved. The FBI believed it might have been an inside job, but they had no evidence. Then one lucky customer saved the day, or rather ruined Pace's life. A young woman tried to deposit a few $1,000s in small bills at her local bank. She was nervous because she was paying for a new car with cash, so she asked if anyone would be watching. The banker assured her they wouldn't, unless the bills were marked or mutilated. Perfect. She thought she was in the clear, so she handed over the cash and walked away. But within seconds, the banker stopped her, explained that several of the bills were still wrapped in their original bands, something never released to the public. He handed over a marked bill and called the authorities. Within hours, the FBI traced the money back to Pace, who was already on their radar. The house of cards collapsed. his associates suddenly forgot they didn't know him. Witnesses came forward and Pace was arrested in 2001. Faced with 24 years in prison, he confessed. The FBI had him wired and followed him as he led them to several hidden stashes totaling over $2 million. Meanwhile, they searched his properties, finding stacks of cash hidden everywhere in basements, under floorboards, and walls. They even found over $600,000 in his mother's house. Altogether, they recovered just over $8 million. At his trial, Pace pointed fingers, claiming he was just a small fish in a big pond. He testified that the mastermind was Town, a member of his crew who handled the logistics. But Town was nowhere to be found. In fact, he'd met an untimely end 3 months after the heist. According to Pace, he'd asked Town why they hadn't gotten paid yet, and the answer was chilling. Town was supposed to handle the money laundering. But after the news broke, he panicked and took the money with him. He said he'd heard from him again a week later. "He was calling me from Mexico saying he was sorry," Pace testified. Then the call stopped, and so did Town. The prosecution had no choice but to accept Pace's plea deal. They charged him with conspiracy to transport stolen property and possession of a stolen firearm. Served 15 years until 2016. But even in prison, people wanted a piece of him. He claimed he was beaten up several times by inmates eager to get the details on the heist. Eventually, he agreed to an interview with the reporter, and he shared the aftermath. "People kept coming to me asking where the money was," he said. "But that's the thing. I don't know where the money is." While Town was never seen again, another crew member wasn't so lucky. Lamont Bussey was known as the muscle of the group. He was a dangerous man with violent tendencies. He even admitted to being a suspect in a murder case from 1990. While awaiting trial for the heist, he posted bail and returned to his hometown of Detroit. But he didn't stay long. He bragged about the Dunbar heist and tried to recruit an old friend to help him launder money. When the friend declined, Bucci threatened him. "I ain't gonna ask you no more," he said. Then he brought him to an isolated area and shot him twice in the head. His body was found 3 days later, laying in the street. Soon enough, the police connected the dots. They knew Bucci was behind bars for the Dunbar heist, and now they linked him to the murder. They offered him a plea deal for manslaughter, and he accepted. He was convicted in 2003 and sentenced to 25 years in prison. But he didn't serve much of his sentence. He was paroled in 2011. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew pleaded guilty to lesser charges and served minimal time. One man, however, refused to cooperate. Eric Jackson allegedly tried to get his $4 million back from Pace's associate, earning him a brutal beating that left him partially paralyzed. He was charged with attempted murder and served 8 years in prison. Over 2 decades later, we still don't know where the remaining $10 million went. Maybe it's lost forever. Maybe it's buried somewhere waiting to be found. Town did make it to Mexico and stashed the cash somewhere in the jungle. We may never know. But one thing is for sure. Greed can ruin everything, even the biggest score of your life. Thank you for watching The Final Hour. If you like this video, watch as bookkeeper steals $40 million from the mob. This will blow your mind. See you next time.